Every MMA fan knows who Khabib is. He's the undefeated, humble 29-0 wrestler from Russia. But what if I told you that Khabib isn't actually as good as everyone says he is? What if I told you he's not even humble and actually might not be that great of a guy, and he just acts like this humble Russian from Dagestan? In this video, I'm going to tell you guys everything that makes Khabib a fraud, to his padded record, to him and his friends surrounding his opponent's friends and family to try and intimidate them. And I'll even tell you guys the real reason on why Khabib got escorted out of that plane a couple months ago, and how it's not entirely the airline's fault. First, let's start with Khabib's record. Initially, if you look at it, it's 29-0. He hasn't lost a single MMA fight, so that is pretty impressive. But if you actually take a moment and look at his resume and who he's fought, you'll very quickly realize that his record and resume is extremely padded, and he's actually only fought around like 3 or 4 top level fighters. I'm not even kidding, 16 out of those 29 wins, Khabib was fighting people who have losing records, so their record is like 1-3 or 0-3. Or he's fighting people who are making their MMA debut and their only MMA fight in their entire life is Khabib. More than half of the people that Khabib fought were not very good, and even in the UFC, he won his belt by fighting Al La Quinta. Like, who the hell is that? He's only fought 3 like top level fighters, and all of those 3 fighters have like 0 ground game, so it was easy for Khabib just to run around the octagon for 10 minutes and then wrestle them and submit them. Now you might be thinking, oh well, even if he did only fight 3 top level guys, he still beat them dominantly, so he has to be pretty good, right? And that's true. Khabib is a good wrestler, he's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's terrible, I'm just saying his record is extremely overrated. And Khabib was most likely on steroids. I actually have a theory on how all of those Dagestani fighters are on some type of juice. Let's start off with the fact that a couple of them have already been popped for steroids. For example, Usman and Islam have failed drug tests in the past. But again, you might be thinking, oh well, come on, that's only 2 members of the group. You can't say that they all are on steroids or even Khabib. Well, if you put all of this information together, you can actually make a pretty good guess, and here's my theory. First off, later in Khabib's career, when he got the belt, he noticeably got way more jacked. And this is actually something that happens with a lot of UFC champions. As soon as they get the belt, they'll just get like twice as jacked out of nowhere. And I actually have another theory on why I think this happens. I think the UFC will be less like strict with drugs when you're the UFC champion. I think they'll just let you use it, depending on who you are though. But back to Khabib's team. They are so like tight and close with each other, sometimes a little too close, that there's no way that one of the team members are just secretly taking steroids without telling the others. If one of them is taking it, everyone would have to know about it. And if they all know about it, why wouldn't they all just be on some type of juice? It's no secret that Islam is on juice. I mean, just look at him. Khabib got super jacked. Umar is not too big, but he does have a ginormous head. So people think that they just gave him steroids when he was a kid. And Usman, he doesn't look like he's on steroids, but again, he popped for steroids. But if Khabib is this nice humble Russian from Dagestan, don't you think that once he found out about the steroid use, he would immediately snap them out of it and say, hey, no, don't do that, that's cheating? Well, what if Khabib was also on the same steroids they're taking, and he's actually the one who put them onto it? So pretty much the theory is, I don't believe that one of them is just secretly taking it, and all of the others are just letting him do that without at least joining in. Plus, they live in Russia, they live in the mountains, so if the testing team just hikes up their mountain to their training spot, and they're gone, Khabib can just say, oh yeah, we were taking a hike, we were training in the fields that day. They can just straight up hide from the testing team. And let's just be honest, the UFC practically openly lets other UFC fighters take steroids. It's no secret. Look at Kayla Harrison. There is no way she is natural, and the UFC just lets her continue to fight, including Jon Jones. It's either Khabib was on steroids or he's been inbreeding for a lot longer than we thought he has. I mean, he is married to his cousin, so that could be very true. But anyways, let's move on from that. But for the record, I say he's both inbred and on steroids. Khabib is also not really that humble, and there is a slight chance that he could be like a pretty mean guy. Let's start off on how Khabib will intimidate his opponent's family or friends. So when Khabib was scheduled to fight Tony Ferguson for the 20th time, Tony Ferguson said that Khabib and all of his Russian friends went to the airport and surrounded Tony Ferguson's family to try to like intimidate them or something. And in the build-up for Khabib versus Conor McGregor, Khabib took his like 8 Russian friends, found one of Conor's friends alone, surrounded him, and then slapped him. And they were just trying to like intimidate him and stuff. And it's not like Conor's friend could do anything once they slapped him. I mean, like, he's surrounded by all these Russian guys. What's he gonna do? And this is the event that led to Conor McGregor throwing that trolley at the bus that Khabib was in. Conor McGregor only did that because Khabib and his friends surrounded Conor's friend and slapped him. That's the only reason why Conor threw that at the bus. But I am pretty sure that Conor McGregor's friend was saying a bunch of stuff to Khabib and his like friends on Twitter, so that's why Khabib's team surrounded him. But like, what did Tony Ferguson's family do? I'm sure they're completely innocent. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's such like a pussy thing to do. I mean, grabbing like 5 of your friends that are all inbred and know how to fight, and then surround one guy, and then like try to act tough and intimidate him, and then slap them. I mean, like, what are you doing? And Khabib doing that to Tony Ferguson's family kind of just proves that Khabib might not be the nice guy that he claims to be. I mean, he is a Muslim, and Allah is the greatest of all deceivers, so Khabib lying really isn't too far out of the realms of possibilities. Now let's discuss the airline issue. Now, when this happened, the entire MMA community kind of just attacked the airline and made them look like the villains in the story, but if you actually break everything down and the entire situation, they're actually not like fully to blame in this situation. Like, once you know everything, you kind of see where the airline was coming from. Let's simply start off with the fact that Khabib's manager is Ali Abdelaziz, and he is literally a terrorist that can't even come into America. There is a lot of bad stuff that Ali Abdelaziz has done in his life, and I would break it all down in this video, but then that would make this video way too long, so let's just talk about a few bad things that he's done. On September 11th in 2001, Ali Abdelaziz got escorted out of a plane heading to New York on the day the Twin Towers fell down, and in his bag he had countless fake IDs. And he was literally a part of a terrorist group. And I'm pretty sure he has a son named Noah that he just straight up abandoned. You can actually hear Conor McGregor yelling this at Ali Abdelaziz when it was the press conference for Conor vs. Khabib. I know Conor McGregor was super drunk in that press conference, but like 90% of the stuff he says about Khabib and his team in that press conference is like true. And that's why Khabib was getting so pissed off at him, because Conor McGregor was just like exposing everyone that Khabib's friends with. But anyways, Khabib's manager is a known terrorist, and it's not just Khabib. Kamaru Usman, Henry Cejudo, and Justin Gaethje, all of them have Ali Abdelaziz as their manager, which kinda sucks. But out of all of them, I think Ali Abdelaziz is closest with Khabib. So Khabib has very close ties with Ali, and he wasn't answering any of the questions they were asking him. Plus, he was wearing a hood. Like, could you be any more suspicious? And someone who trained in Khabib's gym was like a terrorist and was involved in a terrorist attack, and now he's in jail. I don't want to sound racist, but considering majority of terrorists are Muslims, you can kind of see where the airline was coming from on being like, we don't really want this guy next to the emergency door just in case something happens. I'm going to sound crazy while saying this, but I also don't think it would be too hard to believe that Khabib is definitely involved with some shady stuff. I mean, like, does anyone remember that one video where a fan speaks Russian to Khabib and then Khabib acts a little suspicious of him? Now, this next thing isn't really exposing the dark side of Khabib, but does anyone remember whenever Khabib was in a press conference, he would drop the line, "This guy fights for money, I fight for legacy." But then as soon as Khabib got money from Putin, he retired. I know it was also because his dad died, but still. He said that to Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. And like, come on. Saying that to Conor McGregor at that point is just kind of stupid, because Conor McGregor has already done like the Floyd Mayweather fight. He got paid a whole bunch of money for that, and he had his whiskey brand. He was definitely not doing that Khabib fight for money. It's just like the only line Khabib seems to have. It's that line and the line where he talks about street fights, acting like Russia is the only place in the world that has street fights. And it's pretty ironic that Khabib says this to all of his opponents, and then as soon as he got money, he just dipped and ran out and retired. I mean, he obviously wasn't fighting for legacy. He wasn't fighting that good of people, and he retired way too early, which does affect his legacy, like it or not. And that is the dark side of Khabib. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments below, and if you don't agree with me, I guess also let me know down in the comments below. But if you like this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you want to see more videos like this, I have a video on how I think that Charles Oliveira will beat Ilia Topuria if they fight. And since JDM won last weekend, I'm pretty sure that's the fight that's going to happen. Charles versus Ilia. And I also have a video on how I believe Jon Jones has been to a Diddy party. I actually believe that. Go watch that video now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.